Y'all know me, Big the Legend G, with my co-host Initial D, bringing that heat in the twist street. Grab your popcorn, kick up your feet, sit back, relax. We about to blow. Welcome to our channel. Enjoy the show. Ayy.
Hard conversation, brain stimulation, BGID, no imitation. Look, pull up on the mic. Two big guys is rocking the night. Sub on YouTube and follow on Twitch. I guarantee it's gonna be a hit. It's showtime.
What's good? What is good? What's happening? How we doing?
Oh, now it's official. Been waiting to hear that sound, man. I haven't heard that sound in forever.
Right. Now that I've figured it out.
What is good, everybody out there? Welcome back over to another episode of the Two Bearded Guys podcast. Middle age, of course, episode 45, pushing 50. Not quite old enough for AARP, but we're getting up there. So, but yeah, thank you all. Thank y'all all so much for tuning in to yet another podcast here.
Right.
We were off last week, but we're back.
We are back and we are better. And Flash, my guy, appreciate that raid.
Hey, and we ain't talking about the roast spray when my man came through with the raid. Appreciate you, man. Dude, the best thing you could have. Okay, first of all, Flash said two things. Well, he said one thing I want to make a comment on, but the best thing you could have did was hit go live, because some people just have reactions that you just can't see everywhere else.
Right.
You remind me a lot of me getting pissed off. You get to a certain part of whatever in the game, and yeah, just the body just get up and does what it wants to do. But I caught the tail end of the stream. Unfortunately, I got off work at 7 and came and ate dinner and hung out with the fam. Came here, I was like, oh man, he did say he was going live at 6.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I caught that part. That part right there. I got that part. But the one thing that you said near the end of your stream, you know, it spoke to me. You said, it's gonna be more of this to come. I'm just trying to do my part because bring some laughter to the world, because there's so much going on in the world. And I said, that is exactly why I make content.
Big
that
facts.
right there. That's exactly why. So if y'all have been following me as of late, my content has shifted quite a bit. I was talking to Crafty, my wife. I told her a while back, I said, I think I want to make people laugh. I want to put a smile on people's face. And I got a side of me that people don't get to see too often. And we started doing skits and stuff, and oh gosh, we got a really, really funny one that we're about to do. We're probably gonna record it over the weekend. But yeah, man, just making the world smile, man, because it is a lot of stuff going on right now, and a lot of people tune into these platforms to just get away from reality and work, and they're tired of hearing about what's going on in the world. And trust me, I don't even watch the news. If I'm being real, I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know. I just pray and let God handle the rest. I ain't got time, because watching this is not going to change anything, and me knowing about it ain't going to change anything. I don't want to know. What's his name? Mario Winans. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. If the world is on fire, keep it on the low. I don't want to know. Because my heart can't take it anymore. I really can't take it. Just keep playing it. Please don't let it show. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's going on in this world right now. And it's not to sound insensitive, but I can't take it.
Yeah, okay? It's too much.
It's too much. The news is too depressing. I pray for the proper situations, and then let it be. You feel me? Like some people just they consumed with the media, and they just paranoid and depressed. I'm like, the reason you depressed is because you watch too much of that stuff. So turn on the Two Bearded Guys podcast. How about that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep you up to date on what you really need to know.
Mm-hmm. None of this shenanigan chaos that happens.
No, man, no. So, but nonetheless, man, how has your week been? I know you've been busy, man, and so have I, but you know, we always got to do that weekly recap, of course.
Of course. But first off, Flash, once again, bro, appreciate the Raiders. Welcome in. I am Bearded Legend. This is my wonderful expert over here, Initial.
Thank you.
Initial D, and we are the Two Bearded Guys. We are two Christian content creators that came up with this platform, this idea to just bring real life situations to the streaming platforms, and give y'all our thoughts while listening to y'all's thoughts about different topics that we pick. So just know when you come over here, it is definitely a party.
Yeah.
Just know it's a party.
Dude, was it supposed to sound like that? Okay. It's gonna be a party, man. Real talk, man. We like to educate people, inspire people, talk about real topics. Just really a voice for the people, man. Just two regular guys, just speaking their thoughts on various different topics. And just sit back and relax. If you love podcasting, check us out, give us a follow. We're on Twitch and YouTube right now at the moment. I don't know how many followers we have on Twitch. I know we got 107 on YouTube. So we would appreciate it if you would, show some love over to the YouTube side. People tend to be over here on the purple side, like they're scared of the color red. I don't know, but it's okay. Okay. So be sure that you follow us on here on Twitch and subscribe to us over on YouTube. So
Yep. So back to your question. My week it's been very, very busy, like you said. I've been talking about the past couple of weeks. We've been working on this new build for this new long-term care facility that we are in the process of building right now. And we got a deadline of sometime this fall, so we got a lot of things as far as on the clinical side that me and my other coworker, we gotta kind of stay on top of, try to hit some deadlines and things like that. So it's been very tiring, but it has also been very rewarding. I was able to get a couple of streams in this week, and the thing that really made my week, and the week ain't even over yet, was something that happened today. I do a lot of charity work with Breakthrough T1D for type 1 diabetes awareness and research. And last month, actually, I was approached from the community manager that I was nominated for an award. She just asked me, was I going to be there? I was like, of course. And honestly, I really wanted to go live on my channel with it so everybody could see it. But just the way work is going right now, it was just very, very busy. But I was able to attend, and I actually ended up winning the community MVP award. It was actually very awesome. I got emotional. I ain't gonna lie. I definitely got emotional because just knowing like everything that I've been doing to bring more awareness to what we go through on a day-to-day basis, it was definitely rewarding to, be recognized as somebody that, deals with this on a day-to-day basis, but also is so that advocates for it so much.
to see your work coming to fruition. So that was really exciting. So I don't care what happens tomorrow. If I have a bad day, I'm not gonna have a bad day.
Bro, first of all, man, congratulations, man. I always say, ever since I've known you, you've always done like your due diligence when it comes to not just supporting other people with um T1D, but also being the advocate for educating people on it as well, just doing everything you can to bring awareness to it. And I honestly, I didn't know anything about it until I met you. I've always known about the term diabetes, but as far as like in depth and then hearing your story, I've heard your story numerous times, but it's a story that never gets old because here is a person who was just fine one day and then all of a sudden life just changed overnight, which it seems like, and that's a shock to a lot of people. And I've always told you this, that you have always been the type of person, at least in my eyes, who tries to make good or see the positive in whatever the situation may be. And when you told us the news, I saw the message. I was in the car. I was going to my last destination because you sent it this evening, and I said, I'm happy for you. Right? I didn't text it, but I was driving. But I said, nobody deserves it more than you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you keep a smile on your face, stay consistent. But it's just like you said, it hits different when you see the fruits of your labor. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how it feels to do something and have passion for it and just kind of feel like, is anybody really seeing this? Is anybody hearing this? Is this doing any? Is this worth it? And I'm not saying you had those thoughts or anything like that. I'm pretty sure you would do it whether you won or not, or whether you were nominated or not, because you were doing this before this even came about. Of course, you do it because you care. And like you said, you live with it every day. And even being around you, like in person, like several times, I see the with the was it the insulin on your arm, and I always think about that. I'm like, man, like he just, he's living his life, and God definitely has put something in you, man, that you need to just continue to embrace. Because again, I always live a life in terms of, you never know who's watching you, and you never know who's listening to you. So let's live like the world is listening to you. Live like the world is watching you, because people, without saying it, they're looking for a ray of hope. They're looking for something to like brighten up their day. So that's why I always say, whatever you're passionate about, just stick to it. You plant seeds you plant seeds, and one day it doesn't manifest overnight. It takes time and time and time and time, and eventually they get seen. So yeah, man, shout out to you, bro. That's what's up, man. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
What's up, Carlos?
Initial D with Beauty Legend G.
Hey. I'm telling you, man. Every time I hear it, I'm like, man, we gotta go ahead and cut that album, bro.
Don't cut the album.
That album, man.
Y'all want an album? Y'all want a Two Pretty Guys album?
If y'all want an album, just say so. We'll probably at least put a song together or something. If not that, we can at least do that.
So how about your week? How's your week been?
So my week started. All right, so I guess I got to rewind. So we have been visiting a new church, over the last month. I want to say, I think it was before we after we went to, I don't know if it was before or after DreamCon. I can't remember. We started visiting a new church for various reasons. Nothing bad. You know, we just wanted something more. We wanted more deeper. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And we found a church. It's actually not in my city. It's like in the city next over, which is about 17 minutes away. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not awful, but
Yeah.
you know, the trip is worth it. It's a very good church, really good church. So right now we're just visiting and just filling it out. I already know like I want to attend, and the family does too. So Sunday night I went to the website. I just you go to the websites and they'll ask you to connect with them and tell them about your experiences and stuff. So I did. So this is like 11 o'clock on Sunday, bro. Right after I did that Aquaman skit, somebody rang my doorbell, and there was somebody from the church too.
Jeez.
I said, "What is going on here, man?" I'm like, I'm glad y'all didn't get here 30 minutes sooner because you would have seen me walking down the street looking crazy. So yeah, but one of the pastors came, just to greet us and to, talking a little bit. It was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Had never experienced that before, so that meant a lot. So he drove all the way from the other city just to come to our house and to do that. So that meant a lot. So that was Monday, and then the kids were at grandma's house for a few days. So me and the wife got some alone time without no kids and nice and quiet, which I wish we could get more of, but I digress. But besides that, just work, man. Just I was working hard like I always do. Every day I have interactions, with
Yeah.
people, my clients and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and it's too much to really just get into. But I'm thankful for the position that I'm in right now. I get to do something that I love. I get to I get to make my own schedule to an extent. I can kind of move the way I want to, but sometimes I can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it is. I'm not going to ever complain about business. You know what I'm saying? I thank
Oh
God.
yeah, most
I thank
definitely.
God I'm busy. I thank God that I'm doing something that I feel like I'm called to do. So,
Yeah.
and it's only Thursday. I don't. I work tomorrow and Saturday a little bit too. So, but yeah, man, this week has been great.
Good, good.
Oh, Carlos said that was a new. Yeah, that was new. That video was new, bro. That was
You see
new.
him?
Now I know that. I know. Yeah, I have been uploading some old clips, but most of the stuff, if it wasn't like a video game clip, it's more than likely new. So yeah, I recorded that on Monday, and then I did another
Mm-hmm.
one a few days ago. So yeah, we're on our like skit tip right now. I'm trying to get Crafty in on it too. She has to be in the next one. She has no choice because I need
Good.
her to be in it. And she's trying to break out of that. She's trying to break out of her shell. She's trying to do more. She is. I'll give her that. Um, it's not easy. It is not easy at all. Like, in fact, one of my clients, she saw the skit.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, man. Like, you know how you got people on your Facebook and you got people on your Instagram and your Twitter, like different audiences, and the people that know you, y'all friends on Facebook. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, man, I don't know if I want to put this on Facebook or not, man. I don't know, man. They're gonna be like, what is going on here? So,
Just do it.
but she came up to me. She was like, man, like you so well spoken, and you should have been an actor and all this stuff, and which I never had no aspirations of being an actor, but
Mm-hmm.
and she was like to my podcast, and I said, I do that too. It's not really much I can't do,
Right.
so it's amazing how many people are uncomfortable with talking just talking to people like on camera or with a microphone. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man, I've always enjoyed
Yeah.
that right there, at least. Like I was never shy or bashful. I remember when I first started making videos, this was probably like, I don't know, 2012, 13. I'm a whole lot more fluent now than I was then. You know, you can stumbling over your words and catching yourself saying
Right. Yep.
and I'm like, man, what the heck, man? So you got to train yourself to like not talk that way. And I still do it sometimes, but not to that degree. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be.
That is awesome. That is awesome. But first things first, guys, ladies and gentlemen of the chat, whether you are on Twitch or YouTube, again, we appreciate you being here. But one quick announcement before we get into the meat and potatoes. This is the last week to vote for us for the Chatterbox Award. We are currently in the top 5 right now. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and post that. If you have not voted yet, whether you are on Twitch or YouTube, the link should be in the chat. If not, please let me know. But if you have not voted, you can click that link, go down to the Chatterbox Award and vote for Two Bearded Guys. Again, voting does end at the end of the month, and they will be doing the award ceremony on July the 19th. So, again, whether we win or whether we win, we definitely appreciate you guys' love and support for this channel.
Yes. And we're hanging in there, man. It's still a surprise, to be honest with you. And you know, just like you said, man, like it's to me, it's to us, it's a win-win situation because to even be nominated is a blessing. It really is. So, so if you know anybody out there, I don't know, like Carlos, you said you can't vote. Well, tell your wife to vote. Tell your wife to vote. I mean, she can look. I'm not kidding, man. Like, if you got an email address, tell your mom, you know, whoever, sister, co-worker, whatever the case may be. Anybody can vote. Like, you can just tell them, like, y'all, you don't even know what's going to have to know. Just know these are two good guys and vote for them, please. Okay, it don't matter, man. We're going outside of the realm of just streaming. We tapping into real life people. So
real life people,
man. So yeah, we would appreciate it. But yeah, if we win, that's gonna be such a feather in the hat. Like it really, really is. But even if we don't, like I said, you know, no tissues, of course, but we'll be all right.
Yeah. Hey, look, if we win, might get a hot challenge. Or eat another bug or something.
Something.
All right. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into our episode of the week. We are in episode 45. It is titled The American Family. And we got three different points. Points / questions that we want to make. And so our first topic, and chat, y'all feel free to give your thoughts on it. You know, what defines the American family? What do you think the American family consists of?
Right. Oh man. I feel like this message is like a message that everybody has heard, you know, at some point in their life. You were a kid or a young adult. Like, I don't know who made this up, but somebody at some point, you know, thought it would be a good idea to just, you know, make up a template as far as, you know, what an American family is. Like, what's a okay, let's just take the word American out. What is a family, you know, in general?
Yeah.
And I don't know that I don't get the whole American family versus, just a regular family. But I mean, granted, I kind of do because, this is the best country in the world. Land of opportunity, of course. And, people come from all over the world just to chase that American dream.
An American dream.
The American dream, so to speak.
Big house, picket fence.
Yeah. So, husband, wife, at least 2 kids, a dog, house, career. Usually when you have all of those components together, that kind of classifies itself as, the stereotypical American family.
Right.
But that's not realistic. In most cases, because not every situation is the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone's case is different, but I know there are some people who get down on themselves because, oh yeah, and you have to be a certain age too.
That's the big one.
By this age, you should be. Here it is. By 24, you should be graduating college, or you should be getting your career by 25. You should be married somewhere between 26 and 28. You should have your first child by maybe 30. And, it's just that assembly line of just the checklist of what it classified.
Kind of almost like it's a land of the law.
Yeah.
Well, law of the land. I'm sorry. Law of the land.
And if you don't, then you're a loser.
Yeah.
Okay, you are a loser if you are falling behind on all of these different type of things. But yeah, that to me, that's what defines the American family. Just a very external, perfect appearing family. That's just what you think of. You think of the family taking the picture behind the picket fence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if there are some people who like to use that as a template to work towards, but again, it's not a very good one, and it's not realistic either.
No, because it's almost like if you're striving for that picture, you're gonna run yourself ragged. Because, like you said, people come from different circumstances, different cases, and there are gonna be different walks of life. Like there's gonna be different paths that you're gonna have to decide to take, whether it is gonna be detrimental or if it's gonna help. God forbid that you have to take the bad road, to get back to where you were. But there's just different factors that play into that family persona, that family, what do you want to say? Family life, so to speak.
Yeah. And the thing is, I know people who have all of that, the marriage and the children and the house and the career and the car, and they got all of that stuff. But yet, there's still some issues, that happen within the household. There's still some problems that occur within the household because, like you said, if you're trying to chase that, you're gonna run yourself ragged, and you're gonna be sacrificing something to get to that point. You're gonna be giving something up, and a lot of times, when there's problems in the marriage, of course, it's somebody's working too much, or just there's no quality time being spent. It doesn't stop with the outward appearance of the American family.
Yeah.
Especially like now. I mean, this isn't 1965 anymore, man. Like it's 2026.
That era was so different.
Yeah, so 2020. Sorry, 2025. It was so different. Because that's when we started. That's when the establishment of the so-called American family came into fruition.
Mhm.
You know, the wife stayed at home, the
The
husband
husband
worked.
was the breadwinner. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like that for a long time. And now, no, no, it's not like that now. I mean, it's a rarity to see that.
So why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of different reasons, man. I mean, gosh, okay. You know, I could just say the whole um this the typical response of, oh, the economy. You know, yeah, that does play a factor. I do believe it does play a factor. The cost of living is higher. It is very hard for you to live alone. It is. I'm not going to dismiss that at all. Um, but at the same time, you know, there has been a shift in society as well, to where a lot of men just are not stepping up, and the women
Right.
are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the women are stepping up. The women are saying yes to the hot positions. They're saying yes to making the money, and they're the ones out there becoming breadwinners. The pendulum is flipped in some
Mhm.
cases. You know what I'm saying? And now it's so acceptable for women to work that I just don't think that they feel like there's a need for them to stay home, because I know some women that don't want to stay home, like they just don't want to.
Yeah.
They want to work. They want to make their own money. They don't want to stay at home and cooking and cleaning and all that different type of stuff.
Or better
Uh,
yet, some of them want to stay home, but they rather work from home.
yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's fine too. You know, but you know, again, I know how many out of all the people that I know personally, I think only two families have the wife staying home, just two, and they just so happen to be related. They just so happen to be related. So
Yeah.
one of them is a former NFL player. So,
Okay.
you know, he kind of, you know, he's sitting on some bread.
He got the bag.
Yeah. And then the other one is he's on his way, you know, to wealth. He's a store manager to a department store that we all know.
Mhm.
Just say that. But and they do pretty well with their wife staying home. But I'll tell you something. You know, I bring it up. Some of y'all, if y'all been following me and Crafty for at least the last 4 years or so, she had left her job a number of years back, and we wanted to try something different. We wanted to have her stay home and see what that would be like. You know, just have her home, and we did that for 6 months. For 6 months, I took care. I took on everything, like just literally everything. And at that point in time for me, you know, I guess you can kind of say I was in a harvest season to where I could do it. And then I don't know, man, like I guess you can say I kind of started panicking a little bit.
Mhm.
And you start counting pennies and you start doing this. Like nothing happened, like nothing caused me to do it. But you know, it's not easy to just
Yeah.
fully transition into that, and you don't feel like a sense of security. So, because in my line of work, um, there are seasons. You know, there's seasons of, you know, when it's popping, and then there's some slow seasons, and that's kind of like with every business, man. Like, you know, the lawn business is very busy in the summer,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
when it starts getting cold, it's another story. And when it's raining, you can't work in the rain, can't work on wet
Mhm.
grass. So it really depends on what you do for a living. But yeah, she ended up going back to work, but she only went back part time. Like she works part time. You know, she doesn't work full time, like just part time, and that works for us. And we talked about it again, and we're gonna try again to get her to come home at the end of the year. So we had both talked about it. We discussed it. We prayed about it, and because I want her home. That's just me. I want her home. I want to be able to just take care of everything, and she takes care of the house, and the kids and stuff like that. Because it's a personal thing for me. It has nothing to do with the American family or the template. Like, it's just I want her home. That's it, So, but that's just me though.
Okay. Let's get into these comments real quick. Carlos says, "Picture perfect perfection is not achievable. 100% perfection is not achievable. Cause perceived perfection is subject to the prerogatives of the eyes of those that are looking, and sometimes those looking give advice without being asked."
You gotta love
That's
those.
a bar.
You gotta love those. So nobody asks you, but you giving your input. You gotta love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Because it's crazy. So, like, I've been thinking about questions all day, even in the madness of my business. So you had mentioned, it's not the same like it was back in 1965.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on back in 1965? Because I mean, you and I talked about this earlier this week, and we had mentioned our grandparents
Mm-hmm.
and how they were just popping out babies left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Do people still do that, or like they're like, okay, one child's enough, 2 kids is enough? Now I will say I know one family. I think they got 6. Yeah, 6. They got 6 kids. Father's a football coach and mom is a nurse. So I mean, but they do pretty well for themselves. Kids ain't like it for nothing. But it always makes me wonder, like, is that still going on? And if it's not, is there a certain reason why that's not happening? Not saying I encourage everybody to have like 50, 11 kids, by the way.
Right.
Just to throw that out there.
I think that is a 2-answer question. I absolutely do believe that it is still going on. Yes. I think the problem as to why we may assume that it's not is because this is the age, the digital age, and we see social media and we see so many opinions, and then we also see a lot of negative stigmas attached to it. Oh, you got too many kids, and the earth's overpopulated and stuff like that. However, there definitely are still families out here who are having 5 and 6 children. In fact, I mean, I don't know if it's just talk. I don't know if it's just frowned upon in the West, but I know in the East, they're not afraid to populate, man. Just having children like left and right. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That is it's what you're supposed to do. But
Yeah,
I don't know. We got to this point to where it's frowned upon now if you have more than 2 children, God forbid, because here come the negative comments. Like, I've seen families online, families of 8, 9, and 10, and it's disgusting. Some of the comments that I see on those videos, that they got comments like, can you take care of the kids? And then they make sexual comments like, get him off of her and all. I said, that's his wife, man. If you want to be on her, let him be on her all you want to, man. Like, it's none of your business.
Right. They had to discuss having that many kids.
Yeah, it's not an accident.
Right. I don't think it was an unplanned plan.
No. And like you said, if the children aren't lacking for nothing and they taken care of, then you should be clapping your hands to see that a mom and a dad can take care of 10 kids. That is a very big deal. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, I think that there are some people that are not doing it either, just because of the the dating scene now is trash, and people are afraid to commit. People are afraid to get married now. It's just a lot going on right now, and it's a lot of pervertedness and perversion going on in society that literally has people petrified to settle down and to have children, and because they're scared, they're not having kids, which is not good. It's really a form of sterilization, honestly. But so yeah, I think that there are people who are having kids, and I think there's people that's choosing not to have kids. And it really depends on who you ask. Like in some cultures, they don't even have this conversation. They just do what they want. Like the Hispanic community, they don't give a crap about what nobody say. They can have as many kids as they want to.
Yep.
That's their business.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, you pretty much said everything. I don't even have to repeat nothing.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, it's just an observation, man, because I listen and then I watch and all of that different type of stuff. Even myself, we have 3 children. And if I'm being honest, we wanted more. I wanted 5, but that just wasn't in the cards for us. But we got 3, and it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, like we say, God to tell you when it's time to, So, just a word to the wise. Always listen to the big man upstairs, because he won't steer you wrong.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, let me see, Carla. Oh, you got it. Okay.
Hey, go ahead.
Being honest, I wish we had both stayed home without having to work. That would be
man, boy.
That would be so nice, man. I was on this earlier today. I was on this very floor, praying. I was talking to God. I'm like, man, I don't want to get up tomorrow. Go to work. I just want to wake up and pray. And so I'm I be pushing it, man. I get up in the morning at 4 and I'm out the door at like 4:40, but I get out of the bed at 4:20. I really push it, man. I mean, I milk the bed. I'm like, I just don't feel like it. I don't want to do this. I'm like, and I'm thinking of ways like to get out of getting up. And then it's like, reality sets in, and I'm like, oh, you can't do that. You've already been paid. Get up and go. I'm like, oh, get up and go. So I feel you on that, Carlos. I wish that I could stay home. Even though I love what I do, I wish that I didn't have to do it all day.
Yeah.
That part right there.
That makes sense.
If I could do it like in the morning and have the rest of the day to myself, then I would be fine with that. But what gets me is just all day, man, just stretched out, and I haven't really figured out a way to like get around that. I've never been able to figure out a way to get around it other than saying no, and that's not good.
Yeah, because that's money coming. Being taken out of your pocket. Yeah,
man, especially when you got people that's willing. You can't just say no. I mean, you could, but you can't.
Yeah.
I like nice stuff, man.
Right. It's like, man, but could you think, all right, the husband and the wife both are at home.
Working from home?
Like working from home, or dare I say it, be full-time content creators.
Oh, shit.
Man, do you realize how many content creators would be like on these platforms if that were to happen?
It's people out here that shoot their shot.
Yeah.
They say I'm gonna be a full-time content creator, and they just go for it. I've seen it work, and I've seen it fail. I've seen it go both ways. But I gotta take my hat off to the people to where that ended up going back to work. I said, at least you tried.
Yeah.
Right, because some people ain't they not bold enough to make that decision. You know, let's rewind for a second. You said something. You said you had asked another question like what was going on in 1965 or the 60s and the 70s and stuff like that. You know, that's a good question. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend to be some historical figure and know everything. I really do not know the answer to that question. I wasn't there. I just know that life appeared. Well, obviously, it was different than it is now. We were always probably here. Oh, things were a lot cheaper back then, but they also got paid a lot less back then too. Like in 1965, getting $20,000 a year put you in a good neighborhood.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Now, man, you got to be close to triple digits to even scratch the surface of being in a nice neighborhood. So it was different as far as like economical standards and money and stuff like that. I just think, and I think that people were different back then too. We have become so vain, and it's just not a good thing. And back then, it just wasn't like that. You know? And the only reason I know that is because I've talked to some folks that grew up in the 60s, and they always say the same thing. Back in the day, this and that, and it didn't used to be this way, and nobody was confused about what they were, and have all of these holidays and all of this and all of that and all of this. It's too much going on right now.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people confused and just don't know whether they're coming or going.
Yeah.
So maybe life was a little bit more easygoing. It may not have been like, better, but as far as like easygoing, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I do.
And I mean, even with this, back in those days, it was still kind of slavery going on and things like that. Maybe these people back in the day were having, especially in the Black community, they were having all these kids just so when they got older, they could start working, working in the fields or anything like that. But I don't think that was necessarily a big factor to it, but that is something I remember. I think me and my dad were talking about it, because I think he's got 5 siblings, I believe. And I remember him saying, when they got to that age, they went straight to the field, started working.
I hear that a lot. I hear that a whole lot. It was not unusual for children, and I'm talking like between like 11 to 13, 14 years old. It wasn't unusual for them to drive. It wasn't unusual for them to work. None of that stuff was like unusual. You know what I'm saying? Like they were learning how to like shoot rifles at like 11 years old back then. And now kids are like so lazy now versus back then. Life was harder, maybe a little bit more unforgiving, or the opportunities weren't as much as we get today. I know they don't get as many opportunities as we get right now, versus back then. But it's just, I don't know, man. Life seemed just common, and the things that people stress about and worry about now, they didn't stress about that then. My grandmother, the one that passed away about 5 years ago, she was 80 something. And I never heard her complain about anything, like nothing. Like she never complained about nothing. Like she didn't complain about money or not having any money or not having enough. She didn't complain about food. She didn't even complain about her health, man. And she had so many health issues. She just never complained. And I picked on to that the older I got. I was like, man, like I ain't never heard her complain about nothing before. And I remember her saying, don't do no good to complain. Like, what the heck is that going to change? Doesn't change anything. Why complain? I said, you're right. You're right. Some people will say they complain just because it make them feel good. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make you
or try to make a change or something. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But like I say all the time, when people ask me how I'm doing, I can't complain. Wouldn't do me any good anyway.
No, it won't do. It's just man. So she would never complain about stuff, and then a lot of people from that baby boomer generation, they don't complain, but everyone complains about stuff now. Gosh, they complain and whine and cry and all different type of stuff, arguing, debating, and I don't get in the middle of any of it at all. I made a mistaken comment on a Facebook post today. I said, let me get off of here. So somebody had like shared a picture of the bloodline. Y'all know what that is. WWE. Right. And it was a whole bloodline on there. And then somebody said on the post, The Rock doesn't need to be on here because he's not biologically family. So I commented, what you talking about? Like his mom is Samoan. And her dad was like Peter Maivia, his grandfather. And then somebody said, no, he's not. And then another person commented, well, he wasn't like mean about it. And then he said, well, she was adopted by Peter Maivia. And in other words, The Rock's mom is not really Peter Maivia's biological daughter. I've never heard that before. I don't know. I can't confirm it. But my point is that people argue and dispute the stupidest things now. Just you make life so much harder than it needs to be. Like back then, what we gonna do? Argue through the mail? You gotta wait 2 weeks to get this letter, get my response. I wouldn't wait till you say something. You'd have been cooled down by then before you decide to get mad and write back angry letters.
Unhand me, you fiend.
As I write this, the ink is just running my blood. Like acting like you light Yagami.
Signing death notes over here. That's funny. That is hilarious.
Carlos says money had more value back then, and corporations, didn't want to be millionaires every month. Yeah.
That is very true. Yeah. Very, very true. All right, so we're gonna segue into our next point. I feel like we definitely stuck on that first point a lot, which is fine because I mean there's a lot to be said about it. But another topic or discussion, the challenges that families face now. Do you or anybody in chat, again, feel free to comment. Do y'all feel like there are way more challenges for the family than it is, that it used to be?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of touched on a few of them.
We
So
did, but there's some things we didn't. Like families are, first of all, the devil is always at work. Let's just say that.
mhm.
And there are some challenges that families do face. Parents are working too much. They are working, they're overworked, and they're spending less and less time with their children. There's not really a lot of home cooked meals anymore. It's just a lot of fast food. It's not a lot of quality time anymore. It's just some FaceTimes.
Yeah.
Uh, all in the name of trying to like make a way for the family. I think I think that's a big deal because kids don't forget that stuff.
Right.
And when mom and dad are not there, that's a free fall right there as far as like them falling into things.
Yeah.
Um, I once knew a woman. She had a business. She's a business owner, and she was really putting a lot into her business. When you start a business, you just push it as hard as you possibly can. And she got
Mhm.
how many kids? She got 3 kids, but she got 2 with her husband. And she spends so much time like not being at home and being at the shop. And her daughter ended up getting pregnant at 15 years old.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, I mean, that's kind of your fault, man. I ain't gonna lie to you because you were never there. And she was skipping school. I even told her one time, I see your daughter on the other side of town. She's supposed to be in school right now, so you may want to call her or something. So yeah, again, people, families, trying to chase money, of course. And anytime you chase money, you're going to be neglecting family. So I think that that's a challenge that the family faces, of course. Just parents working too much and not being mom and not being dad.
Mhm.
You know,
Sounds like a Goku situation.
look, hey, yeah, I feel like if you want to say that, yeah, where were you, man? Yeah, who's this little guy? Yeah, what about you, man? What you think?
I agree with the overworking. What was your other point that you said?
Well, I think that was it right there. I felt like
Okay, just
they were overworked and they're not there. Parents aren't present.
yeah. I think another challenge, and I mean, this really goes. I mean, we can both talk about where anybody can talk about this, but it's not enough spirituality in the home.
Yeah.
Dad might not have gone to church, or mom might have never grew up in the church. So, how can they teach the kids what's right from wrong, or the power that God can do for them, what God can do for them in their lives if they trust and believe His word. I think that's a huge challenge, because again, not every family goes to church. You only see them on the special event churches, the special holiday churches.
Yeah. Easter, Christmas,
yeah, Easter, Christmas, things like that. So when the Bible specifically says, don't forsake the assembly, although he's really not talking about the building, but he's talking about fellowshipping with the body. But faith should be big priority in a family. Even at weddings, the preacher always says, God should be the center of every marriage, just like He should be the center of every household. So, I definitely feel like faith in the home has not necessarily disappeared completely, but it's definitely one of those subjects that is starting to die down. And
Which is a very bad thing.
it is a very bad thing. So I mean, how can we, well, I can't say we, but how can families fix that?
I'm looking up Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. God says hold on. Let me go back to verse 5. It says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength. These commandments that I give you today, and let them be on your heart. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, and when you walk along the road, and when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them as a symbol to your hand and bind them to your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. So God is saying, literally, bring me into the picture. Bring me into the picture. And of course, he's not just saying that just because. He's saying that because the biggest challenge, the biggest challenge the family faces is the devil.
Yep.
The Satan is always trying to bust up families in one way, shape, or form. But a family that's deeply rooted in faith in God, and everybody has a relationship with God, filled with the Holy Spirit, and just walking in that way, that's a strong family. No matter what they go through, no matter what they do, no matter what they go through, they got a relationship with God, and it's gonna be all right.
Yep, I agree.
But you say, what can we do to change that? That's a loaded question, man. I mean, there's nothing that we can do per se, but play our role. The Bible says to Jesus, in the words of Jesus, you are the light of the world. You need to be the light. You need to be the one to show people why this is worth it or why you do what you do. You know, we can't just go shake people up and say, stop it, change. You know, we can't do that. We just can't. But only thing we can do is just lead by example.
Yep.
And talk about God in the midst of it. You know, don't just say, oh, I got wealth and I got this and that. Like, no, just say the Lord gave me the ability to get wealth. That's Deuteronomy, I think chapter 25, if I'm mistaken. But it's the Lord that is giving you the ability and the talents to accumulate wealth. It's the Lord that blessed me with this and the Lord that blessed me with that. Like he said in Deuteronomy chapter 6, talk about me all the time. And that's really the best thing that we can do.
Yep. And yep. Even even Jesus said it in Mark 10. You know, when the story about people were bringing their little children to him, and the disciples were rebuking them and trying to turn them away. And you know, Jesus said something along the lines of let them come to me. You know, do not hinder them. You know, because what did he say? Verse 15, he says, truly I tell you, anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a little child will never enter it. Like, if that don't hit you right in the feels, I don't know what will. You know, so parents, if you're listening, it is very, very important that you bring your child to God, because you have to think about it. They are the future. You know, I mean, go listen to Whitney. She said it. I believe the children are the future.
Yeah, they're the future. I mean, because we're gonna be old one day. And if you want a better tomorrow, then you better start now. Because it doesn't just happen from no effort. If you let kids if you let the streets teach them and you let society teach them, then you get what you get.
Yep.
That's just the way it is, you know. So yeah, I mean, and I know like there's some parents that don't go to church and stuff like that. I mean, again, man, there's really nothing we can do to make anybody do anything other than live by example.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, me and my whole family, we always make sure that we include God in everything that we do and that we say, and we verbalize it. It's important for people to see that. A month ago, this woman follows me, and she's been on my Facebook for years and years. She is not a Christian. She's a Buddhist. And she made that clear to me like years ago. We ain't never argued and stuff like that. We might have bumped heads about Halloween a few times, but that was it. Nothing disrespectful. She know where I stand. She's always known I was a Christian. Well, you know, she said something about a month ago. She said, I've been following you for so many years, and you're so consistent, you know, with your faith. And you don't waver, you don't change, you don't shift. And just looking at the changes in your life has made me want to consider looking into Christianity. And when she said that, I was like, I had never once told that woman she needed to be a Christian. Never yelled at her, and didn't knock her upside the head with the Bible. I just led by example. And that was it. Because people are not stupid, and they know when they see the difference. And just, you know, somebody that's in the world versus somebody that's a Christian, they know they can tell the difference.
Yeah.
They see the difference. It's a huge difference, especially when you're really walking as Christ-like as you possibly can. So just doing something like that, because remember I said in the beginning of the podcast, you never know who's watching. You never know who can hear you. You never know who's secretly applying what you're doing and what you're practicing. Because a lot of them ain't going to tell you. Folks just not going to say anything.
Right.
You know, so if we want to see more godly households, then be what you want to see. We talked about this. I don't know, about a month and a half ago about testifying about the goodness of God and not being quiet about it, and how that does a disservice to the world when we don't talk about the Lord ever.
Yeah.
So let's not say we want to see people change and we ain't producing nothing.
Agreed.
That's the best thing I can. That's all I got right there, man. What can we do, man? Because we can't. I'm not knocking on nobody's door. Do you know the Lord?
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Let's get some of these comments. Carlos, in Goku's defense, he was dead. All right, dead.
Halo over here. Good one, Carlos.
Sometimes working hours are not good for family, and a decision to leave that has to be done for the betterment of the family. Yeah, I do agree with that. You know, some parents they work those long hours, and they're never home. It's almost like, okay, dad works overnight job, you know, so when dad gets off of work, mom's on her way out the door to go to work, and dad's gonna be asleep all the time.
Yeah.
So definitely understand that.
Seeing that a lot. Yeah, coming and going. Yeah.
So, if the parent is not taking the kids to church, at least let someone you trust introduce God into their lives. I think that is that's a big fact, Carlos, because you know, the kids need to hear that. You know, now obviously them growing up, they're gonna hear the stories Adam and Eve, David and Goliath,
Yeah.
you know, all those to Joseph in the many colors, the many color coat, Moses parting the Red Sea. They're gonna hear those stories. They're not gonna hear what we normally hear, like, you know, the fire and brimstone, or how to forgive somebody, or marriage, divorce, things like that. They're not gonna hear that until they get older. But to your comment, I definitely agree with that. Introduce them to God early in life, and as they get older, they will start to understand better.
One of my clients, we talked about this the day before yesterday. She's 53, and she said I used to sneak to go to church when I was a little girl. And yeah, she used to sneak to go to church.
Let me fix my face.
You know, parents didn't go to church and stuff, and she's like, you know, what are they gonna do? Get mad at me for going to church? So I think at some point she wanted to go to church, and then, you know, the parents, you know, making excuses and stuff like that as to why, and she just wanted. I think it's so interesting how a child can have a hunger for God. Like my middle son, he takes his faith seriously. He does. And I was thinking about this earlier. I was interestingly enough, I was cleaning the bathrooms. Oh, we got a lot of bathrooms, man. Oh gosh, got 3 bathrooms, man. I told my oldest, you got to clean your own bathroom. But I'm mentioning that because in his bathroom, a thought came across my mind, like, all of these boys are gonna have to have a relationship with you, God. Like, there's nothing I can do, like, later in life. Like, this is an individual thing. Like, there's nothing my mom and dad can do, nothing they can say that can establish my relationship with God. It's just nothing they can do. It's an individual thing. And I was just thinking about it earlier, like, you know, my kids, you know, my oldest, I just think I'm just grateful all my kids believe in God, and I don't have to fight with them and none of that crazy stuff. Yeah. I was looking at my oldest had his Bible on his bed. I think because a couple of weeks ago we did a Bible study, and I told them there were some prayers I wanted them to recite every day. And I think he's been doing that because I see his Bible on top of his bed and in the morning time and stuff. So, but my middle son, he keeps us accountable, man. Like, Saturday comes around, he's like, "Are we going to church tomorrow?" If I don't say yes, he's gonna be like, "Why? What the heck am I gonna say, man? Like, I just don't feel like going. Like, come on now." Like, I said, nah. Most of the time, it's like, "Nah, son, we going. We're gonna go." So, I think it's amazing how kids, you know, there's some parents that get saved through their children. And if you've read the book of Jeremiah, in the beginning, Jeremiah is a child. He's a child, you know, because there's Bible verses, you know, God's talking to him. And Jeremiah says, you know, you want me to say what you want me to say, but who's going to listen to me? You know, I'm a little boy. And he's like, God said, don't say that. I'm going to put my words on your mouth. And so God absolutely can use kids and talk to kids and save kids, and he just can. So, but, you know, it's supposed to be the parents that introduce the Lord to the kids, but sometimes it don't work out that way. So, but God has his ways of getting who he wants. He got many ways.
Many ways.
Mysterious ways.
That he works in. That he works in. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think that those 2 topics, those 2 points that we made, really really were the heavy hitters. We do have one more topic, but honestly, press for time here.
I think that
Um,
was good.
so we actually we're gonna stop there. If there needs to be a part two, we will make a part two. Because there's so many other ways we can go with this episode.
Yeah.
When it comes to family. So, but any closing remarks you got?
I think that we brought this full circle as bringing the God into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to talk about American family, this is said to be a Christian nation. And, God establishes the family. First of all, there is no family without God. Crazy to think that you can have a family without the Lord being involved. You can try, but I wouldn't recommend it. But as far as like closing remarks, if you are a parent, just don't let your career and or job or whatever your hustle make you lose sight of who you are.
Yeah. Or social media.
Or especially social media. I could tell you now as a father, every single day I'm always thinking about, what can I do to be a better dad? How can I utilize my time a little bit more wiser to spend time with my kids? I think about that all day long, all day. And my kids appreciate me. I know they do.
Mm-hmm.
They do. They show it. They do.
Yeah.
But if you're a parent out there, just spend time with your kids. Your wife, value your wife, husband's wives, same with value your husband, and just make sure that God is like literally at the center of your family.
Yep. Totally agree with that. Let me read this comment real quick. Carlos says, currently my older kids go to Bible school. It was the kind old lady, I guess, that lives next to us that walked to our house and told my wife about it.
Yeah.
My wife came to me and we discussed if the kids could go, and we agreed it was good. So, and another one. And now they have favorite scriptures, and instead of singing bad songs, they sing hymns and God-oriented music.
There you go.
That is great.
Yes.
That is absolutely great.
Yes. Hey man, I love to hear that right there.
Yes.
I love to hear that, bro. That's what's up, man. You're doing a great job, Carlos. You're doing a great job raising your family, brother.
Yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of tonight's episode. We definitely appreciate you guys, whether you were on the purple side or the red side. We definitely appreciate the support. Whether you lurked or whether you commented, everything is always appreciated with you guys. Any shameless plugs?
Well,
You know what? Did I download? I don't know if I downloaded it, but we're gonna find out. Go ahead.
Well, this isn't really a plug for me. This is a plug of something that's about to go down on Saturday night.
Oh, trying to find it.
Okay.
Let's see.
So I will be live this Saturday at 9 p.m. I think it's 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
9 p.m. Yeah, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'll be playing a spooky game with this guy right here to my left. There it is right there. As you can see, the Four Horsemen. We're gonna be playing Deadly Quiet. This will be like the first real stream I've had since I want to say the end of January or the beginning of February or something like that. But I don't know what the heck I'm in for. We literally just bought the game, so I got it, and I'm not gonna touch it until we play and stuff like that. But I might want to go ahead and get your clips ready and turn down the volume if you got speakers.
It's gonna get crazy. I'm just gonna tell you, it's gonna get crazy. So yeah, so behind this game, me and Bear actually found this game on Twitter. New developer of the game, trying to get their game out there, and we both looked at it and we were like, oh, this looks good, you know. So we actually joined their Discord and was retweeting all their tweets, and the dev actually reached out to me and gave me a stream key, so I didn't have to buy it, luckily.
Okay, nice. That's what's up, man.
You know, some of y'all may have came in earlier this week. I played it earlier this week. Kind of did a solo run. It's actually pretty interesting. But yes, y'all make sure y'all tune in at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're gonna actually do a shared stream collab. So you'll be able to see all of our faces on one screen, and you'll be able to see all our chats on one screen, and you'll be able to clip all you want. So I know all.
It's gonna be crazy, man.
It's gonna be crazy, but it's gonna be fun. You know, a lot of y'all have really been wanting all four of us to come back all at once, and we're here. You know, Flash, he went live earlier tonight. Actually, he was live earlier. Bear, he came back a couple weeks ago. So D's the last one.
And that'll be Saturday. The stars have aligned.
The stars have aligned. So just again, that's gonna be, and matter of fact, let me say this now. Friday night, you will probably see us all go live. Just because we're gonna be testing out the shared stream. So I mean, y'all can come in and kick it with us. We don't mind. But we just want to make sure that all that works before we try this on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to Crafty about that shit. Like, please don't wait until the day that you got to do it, because y'all already know like, there's always gonna be a problem, like whether it's an audio issue or a game issue or something. So I'm gonna try to work all the kinks out tomorrow night.
Yeah,
if there's any key. So
good deal. I guess shameless plug for me. Obviously, you mentioned the stream on Saturday. I'm hoping to get a stream in on Sunday and all that good stuff, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, other than that, that's all I got. And I'm sure that's all D has. So again, we definitely appreciate you guys for coming through. And we hope you have a great night's rest and get ready for the weekend. I can help with testing. Oh, always. You can always help us out.
Heck yeah, man. Oh yeah.
But other than that, we'll see y'all later. Just remember,
y'all be blessed.
4 letters, 1 word. Yeet.
Y'all know me, Big the Legend G, with my co-host Initial D, bringing that heat in the Twitch street. Grab your popcorn, kick up your feet, sit back, relax. We about to blow. Welcome to our channel. Enjoy the show. Hey. Hard conversation, brain stimulation, BGID, no imitation. Look, pull up on the mic. 2 big guys is rocking the night. Sub on YouTube and follow on Twitch. I guarantee it's gonna be a hit. It's showtime.